Oh hey there, kids!
This is where things get interesting, folks. Back in the early 2010s, DC decided to reboot their characters for the 52nd time, but this time they were dark and edgy and
overcompensating
and serious. They show blood, guts, they swear, and say no we can't in the Bob the Builder intro. And all the while, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was about to go full swing with the release of Avengers. And with that, DC tried to catch up with Marvel with varying degrees of quality. But while they were embarrassing themselves on the silver screen, they decided to make their own smaller universe in the form of the DC Animated Universe, and Justice League War was that start. Apparently this all started because Barry decided to reset the timeline, so really Flashpoint Paradox started it all. But anyway, let's start with the story. It's an origin story of how the League met, and they've met in very interesting ways. Some weird aliens are abducting people, and Green Lantern and Batman meet, and oh my, I hate this Batman so much. Everyone always rags on Mary Sue's and how bad they are in stories, and they are, but their male counterparts can be just as bad as their female counterparts, and this version of Batman proves it. Literally all he is just some stoic douchebag who always has the final word. Why? Because he's Batman.
Wait, so Batman, you're saying you should be the leader of the Justice League? That's exactly what I'm saying. Well, it's not entirely fair, Bruce. I mean, we pay our fair share from time to time. Look, I own the building that you work at. You're paying me with my own money.
And here Green Lantern has been reduced to a funny comic relief character, and it's awful, honestly.
Here's the plan. Green Lantern kicks Superman's ass. TMZ's got the video.
How are the other characters? Well, Superman's good, a kind hero who hasn't gone full Snyder mode, and Wonder Woman's more naive, and for some reason, they're dating, which not only upsetted me, but all of society, because they're messing with the natural order! Superman is supposed to be with Lois Lane, because Lois humanizes Clark. Diana is just, oh, they're co-workers, so they must like each other, and they have powers, so yeah, they must kiss. And Flash sucks. But Shazam is cool and funny.
Hey there, what's up? Shazam. I'm with him. He's not with me.
And honestly, Cyborg should have been the real focal point of this film, since his story was way more interesting than the main storyline. Basically, Cyborg wants his father to notice his achievements, but he's too focused on his research, so enraged, he grabs an alien computer and becomes the father from Oblongs, and in order to save his son, his father ejects him with nanomachines and becomes a giant robot. They had so much potential here, mainly because this subplot is way more interesting than the whole film itself, because here, you can feel the humanity and emotional struggle of Cyborg's dilemma.
You call this living? This half man, half machine? This is what it took you to finally care about me? You had to make me just another one of your experiments.
While the main story plays its cards way too early by literally showing the big bad of the series conquering the Earth. Yeah, Darkseid's here, folks. And he's here and he wants to kidnap not Obama because Earthworm Jim logic.
Hey, you don't look like the president.
I'm one of those generic presidents they use on TV to keep shows from becoming dated.
Oh, well. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Generic President.
With all that said, how's the art style? Well, they try to make it look serious but playful, but it's such a tonal clash to where it ends up looking jarring, and it doesn't help much considering how cheap everyone looks, looking like the animated equivalent of the generic superhero style you find of these characters on binders, towels, or Batman tampons. It doesn't work because everyone kind of looks the same, and they're trying to be like anime, but it ends up crashing and burning harder than the new Thundercats reboot. Granted, you can say the same about their other incarnations of these characters. Trust me, I have brought that up a lot when talking about Bruce, the hentai-loving Tim, and his Roblox men and Barbie-looking ass girls. But the main difference here is that while yes, Bruce's style is kind of bland and cheaper looking, it still somehow has a soul. This just reeks of old white guys in suits standing around a board meeting wanting to get as many normies interested as possible. But that's just me rambling like the boomer that I am. Let's get back to the story. So Darkseid shows up and the Justice League gotta beat him up, and oh my god! Once again, folks, meme review! Here we see Hal attempting to impress his gamer bros and Veronicas of the group by throwing a punch at the turbo nerd Darkseid, but he ends up getting his ass bitch slapped to the wall and gets a whooping from his minions. A perfect way to summarize those overly confident dude bros by reducing their actions into a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, and as such, I rate this as a very loony meme. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. As stated previously, Darkseid is here and he wants to conquer the Earth for the 10 millionth time, and is basically turning humanity and these All Tomorrow's rejects into demon spawn thingies, and Superman gets captured way too easily, so Batman has to get Superman back, and Green Lantern has to actually grow a brain cell and lead the group to beat up Darkseid. They get Superman back, and they send Darkseid back by shooting their lasers at him, and the generic president congratulates them by inviting him to the congressional hearing. So overall, this film is pretty messy, like a really bad episode of the OD Justice League cartoon. The action's okay, and there are some charming jokes that did make me laugh.
Hey, Black
but they really should have made this into a cyborg film thing, because it's the only saving grace in this film, because it's all rushed and cheap looking. I wouldn't recommend it, folks. Just skip it. Over the years, we have gotten many different folks taking the mantle of Robin, and while some didn't last as long as others, hell, some have gotten it pretty bad during their time as the Boy Wonder, we've gotten some unique and well-made incarnations of him. So how does Son of Batman and the animated introduction of Damian Wayne handle it? Well, let's find out. This film was also the beginning of what I like to call the Bat Family Saga. You'll see why, folks. The film starts out really slow by introducing Raish and his clan of ninjas, and telling Damian that one day all this will be his, which was totally not ripped off and inspired by a scene from that one Disney movie. I don't remember what it's called. Something about a white lion? Yeah. Then all of a sudden, a huge explosion happens and Slade shows up and kills Raish because he owes him $5 in a soda. But Damian tries to act all cool and stabs Slade in the eye. And Raish, bless his heart, tries his damnedest to get a taste of his G Fuel pool.
Meanwhile,
we see Batman kicking the ass of our favorite reptilian hillbilly, Killer Croc, but is then cornered by him, but then his ex has to save his ass. They then catch up and they discuss how Talia totally didn't drug Batman and tells him that he has a kid and leaves.
It's your problem now, dum-dum!
Bitch. So here he is, folks, Damian Wayne. And how is he? Well, you remember those Xbox kids that said they had 300 confirmed kills and did your mom? Well, Damian does have 300 confirmed kills and most likely did your mom. So Bruce takes the little twerp and makes himself at home.
And you also have this for your amusement.
Prepare some tea, Pennyworth. Brown sugar instead of white. Fresh cut lemon. A China cup.
Once again, this film's art style is following the previous film to make sure they're all connected and have their own universe to compete with Marvel. And its problems are still here, what with the crappy animation and pseudo-anime style. Again, it just looks so cheap as hell, and unlike New Frontier, it doesn't have a great story attached to it to compensate. So what we're left with is just another piece of hot garbage. And Damian, oh god, this kid. So Bruce is running his business and Damian starts acting like some soulless executive. You know, he's 12 years old, and while that's happening, this scientist is attempting to make super lean, but Slade comes in and kidnaps him for some reason. While that's going on, Batman is investigating why Croc was getting high off illegal drugs, so he confronts him and Croc attacks Batman, but he can't reach him because he's not even on the same layer as he is. And Damian, being a little shit, attacks this bootleg Wolverine and gets his ass kicked, and if it weren't for Nightwing saving his little Rugrat ass, he'd be killed. He gets grounded, but Batman says, whatever, you're ungrounded. And they investigate the stadium because it has a lead on why its scientist was kidnapped by Slade and...
What the fuck?
Okay, this is just dumb as hell, and not even a good way. An army of man-bats to take over the world? Just what? This film has no focus at all. Whatever, they find out that Slade is in Europe making more of these bootleg action figures, so they fly over there and we finally get something good out of this film.
I was being groomed to lead humanity, like my grandfather. From what I heard, your childhood wasn't a lot of fun either.
I had my traumas, but I also had people around me to help. Alfred, Dick, others. I had friends.
After that philosophical question, the final battle commences, and it sucks!
Do nothing.
So they beat Slade and they celebrate.
Mother.
This film was just terrible, just horrible. This film just wanders around aimlessly, not knowing what the heck it's trying to convey, and its action scenes suck. And the only saving grace this film has was when Batman confronted Damian on his world views because of how distant both characters' views are. Again, I'd skip this one as well, ladies and gentlemen. After those nuclear fallouts of films, is there any hope for the DC animated films? Well, don't worry, folks. They actually sat down and decided to make a good film this time around. And that film is Batman: Assault on Arkham. Before we get started, I gotta get the obvious joke out of the way. Way better than the 2016 Suicide Squad movie. Yeah, haha, let's get back to business. Finally, something great. And boy, is it one hell of a ride, ladies and gentlemen. Based somewhat off the Arkham games that blew up in popularity and set a standard for all superhero films. Thanks for the Suicide Squad game. Hell yeah. This film is so much fun. I love it, and let me tell you why, folks. It starts out with a bang. Riddler is trolling Amanda Waller, but then she trolls him back and swats his ass, and then Batman comes in the most epic way possible. Let that awesome action scene set in your mind, because that's what this whole movie is. One giant action film. And oh, there's a plot apparently. I don't know, something about a Riddler leaking Amanda's nudes on the internet, so she kidnaps these losers to do her dirty work, and if they don't comply, she'll blow their heads off. Well, that's one way for people to follow you. These poor criminals, they were just sitting there minding their own business, and then they gotta serve this old hag. Oh well, they get free cookies and healthcare, I guess. This ensemble of characters are still great, by the way. We have the tank a la King Shark, the cold-hearted bitch that is Killer Frost, and their couple, I guess. I find it cute. I ship it. We have the king of Boomer himself, Captain Boomerang. Shut it, Boomer. The e-girl, and the pseudo-leader of the group, Deadshot. And boy, do all these characters so over the top. I love it. They just bounce off one another, and it's so much fun. And Batman... oh, he's portrayed as a force of nature, and I love it. It's so great. Sorry, folks, back to the story. So the Suicide Squad gotta infiltrate Arkham to get Riddler's flash drive. So they gotta set up a honeypot trap for Batman and Harley sent away to Arkham, but not without her funny mascot friends to accompany her on the mission. And they do it all stylishly. Fuck yeah. And then... is that Mark Hamill? Troy Baker? I love that guy.
Is that clean service? Tell them I never got my calzone.
What the?
I'm here, bitches! And I brought favors for everybody!
Mini rant time. This is kind of disappointing, and let me explain. Just like how there's so many iterations of live-action Joker, there's a ton of iterations of the Joker's voice. Of course, we have Mark Hamill's classic voice, and it's not bad, but we also had other voice actors give their interpretation of the character, like Kevin Michael Richardson.
Joker, didn't you hear? The Clown Prince of Crimes checked out.
John DiMaggio, Jeff Bennett.
Sorry. I guess I'll always be a little screw loose.
Hell, even Zach the fat guy from the Hangover movies. They all gave the Joker a new form of insanity, while Troy is just a Mark Hamill impression. Granted, it's not a bad impression, but that's all it is, an impression, when we could have gotten a new version of the Joker's voice. Hence why I find it disappointing that such a great voice actor is reduced to nothing more than an impression. After that society rant, Joker's flirting with Harley, but then she tells him she has a new man? Oh yeah, her and Deadshot had sex. And now Joker's getting all mad. Wait a minute, the gentleman's getting mad that his Veronica was taken away by some jock? My god, this is stupidly awesome. And some more hijinks ensue. Frost and Shark get closer as a couple. Batman beats him up in the most awesomest way possible. Riddler tells Frost, yo, I know how to get rid of that head bomb of yours. So they all follow him to free themselves, and Amanda finds out, and she doesn't like it.
Nobody screws the wall!
What the fuck? They killed Shark? I loved him! A moment of silence for our literal king. So the squad is freed and all of Arkham is running amok, but it's quelled after 5 minutes. But Joker runs away with his Veronica, but the Chad doesn't approve of it, so the final battle between the gentleman gamers and Chads commence, all while Batman has to stop a bomb as well. This film was just a dumb action film, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I highly recommend this beautiful explosion. Over the past 2 decades in popular media, Aquaman has always been seen as the butt of the joke or a worthless hero, because according to them, all he can do is talk to fish. But that's not true at all, and Justice League Throne of Atlantis proves them wrong. Kind of, not really. Brave and the Bold did a better job on Aquaman.
He knows how to take a beating.
But anyway, once again, it's the same art style as Justice League War, so yeah, it's still bad. But this time around, we tell the story of how Arthur found his true self and fulfills his destiny. And that's it. Superman and Wonder Woman are still dating, and I still hate it. But hey, they actually went on a date, so that's cute, I guess. And Lois shows up and challenges this relationship by showing how stupid it is.
Diana is a diplomat.
Oh, so this is an interview?
No, it's a date.
Oh, right.
But hey, Shazam's still funny.
Date?
What are they doing here?
I love you, Shazam!
And Cyborg is still going through his personal traumas. As for the main plot, well, Arthur finds out he's the bridge between the Atlanteans and the surface dwellers because his mom was the queen of Atlantis and his dad was some dude. But his brother from downstairs doesn't like the surface because reasons, but his mom says no, so he kills her and starts a war, and the League gotta stop him.
Yay!
I barely remember this at all. Had to watch it like 3 times. In my honest opinion, it's not a bad film per se, but I legit couldn't remember much about it. And as stated previously in the first part of the series, no, I'm not saying the movie is bad. Far from it. I thought it was alright, but that right there is the biggest crime, to be mediocre. At least when you're bad, you're still remembered, but when you're mediocre, you're forgotten easily. If they made it. So I'd say give it a try, but it's just so forgettable, so So far, anything related to the DCAU has been pretty bad so far, and the only saving grace was Assault on Arkham, and that's because it decided to go all out on the wacky action side, and actually have a great art style and fast animation. With all that said, could DCAU redeem itself? Well, they did, and Batman vs. Robin. There, happy Catbit, goddamn fucking wasting my time. Now how is a gonna borrow a file, gonna get back? Proves it. I can't believe they actually learned from their mistakes. How? Well, let's take a look. It starts off with Robin stealing the Batmobile, and it didn't lose a wheel, and he's still a little shit, but whatever. He goes to this abandoned warehouse to investigate some missing kids and comes across the doll maker, and oh god, those poor kids.
Psychopath! You'll pay for this!
Yeah, I hope you burn in hell.
As children, they're helpless, but as dolls, no one can ever hurt them again.
No, you're not. Damien kicks the kids and Batman shows up, and Damien goes after the doll maker to kill him, but he chooses not to honor his father's wishes. But then some douchebag kills him, and right off the bat, they really improve the action. Like, it's so much faster, and the choreography is way better as well. And hey, they actually have an overarching plot with this owl douche. And the story's pretty good. Basically, Batman is trying to get rid of his son's murderous intent out of him, all while he's dating this pretty girl. But Damien, being a little bastard, sneaks out and fights crime. And while that, he encounters this owl guy named Talon, and essentially tells him his skills are being wasted. So he tries to recruit him to join the Court of Owls, which is basically Gotham's Illuminati. And Damien is conflicted between enacting rightful justice and bitter vengeance, and it's handled very naturally. While that's going on, Bruce is captured by the court, and they try to have him join, but he thinks about it, but we all know he wants to take him down. And things finally come to a head where Talon tells Damien to fight his own father to prove to the court that he's worthy for him, and what follows is an actual good fight scene.
If this is what you want, then do it!
After that betrayal, Batman finds the court and gets drugged, and we have a fascinating look into Bruce's psyche. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie.
You put on that mask, you became as much of a demon as the men you claim to oppose. You spawned the greatest monster Gotham City has ever seen.
Forgive me.
And Damien's in prison, and he must choose between the court or Bruce, and obviously he chooses Bruce.
Well, duh.
And then the both of them are turned by the court, but Talon kicks all their asses, and then we find out the main owl was actually Bruce's GF from the beginning? With that failed Mask of the Phantasm twist, Talon gets mad at Damien and decides to send an army of zombie ninjas to Bruce's manor because he got bored, I guess, and the Bat family must now defend their home. The Bat Tank? What the? Alfred has a shotgun.
Shut up and get to the point!
Okay, folks, this was pretty epic. They finally made a good DCAU film, and as such, I recommend it. We've seen several films where we see our heroes fighting or landing on an alternate timeline, but why not an entire film dedicated to an entirely different version of our favorite heroes? Well, Justice League Gods and Monsters tells that before this film came out, they advertised by showcasing a few shorts that gave us a feel of what these new iterations are of our favorite heroes, and they were all sponsored by Honda HR-V crossover. That car sucked! Mechanical issues aside, I really love this film. It's Bruce Timm Styles, and we haven't really seen his style in quite a while here. As stated previously, it's way better than the DCAU style. And I'll take the Roblox people look any day of the week. With that said, what's so different about our heroes? Well, a lot actually. This time, Superman landed in Mexico, and a Mexican family adopts him as their own, making him an official legal alien. I guess Family Guy didn't lie.
Oh no, they're not all living here, they're just visiting.
Wonder Woman looks interesting. I don't know, it doesn't ring out Wonder Woman, more like a rejected Bruce Timm ecchi girl. And Batman is a vampire, and that's pretty damn cool if you ask me. And this league doesn't hold back at all. What the hell? Why are you beating up Spear? Well, at least we're getting season 2, I guess. And the story here is pretty cool if you ask me. Basically, these 3 Terminator bootlegs are going around killing science who were involved in the Fair Play project, and the League must discover who and what is the Fair Play. We also learn the League's backstory in the meanwhile, like how Superman was actually the son of Zod. Wonder Woman was supposed to have an arranged marriage with Darkseid's son, and oh god, what did they do to his voice?
I welcome you to Apocalypse, Highfather.
Weird Al sounded more menacing than you.
You will be cast into the fires of Apocalypse, where you will burn for eternity.
Anyway, they get married and Diana's people betray Darkseid and she fights back and leaves. And Bruce was a college student trying to find a cure for deafness, but accidentally created vampirism and turned himself into one. And his roommate's wife has been trying to find a cure for him, so that's cute. And his roommate's totally not the bad guy here. No, I swear. Along their journey, Superman decides to visit Lex Luthor, and he's some smart bum living in space, and he asks him what fair play was.
Project Fair Play. I began it years ago in case the human race needed to neutralize the Justice League. In other words, Superman, in case we had to kill you.
Superman's displeased with Lex, but he lets him be, but he's then killed by the Terminator rejects, and the League takes the blame, and the Fair Play Protocol is initiated, so the League must now defend itself. But really, this was all a front for Bruce's roommate to initiate his hive mind in Utopia. Why do all this rigmarole?
She kept urging me to find a cure for you.
Finally, one day, I'd had it, and I hit her.
If I, the best and brightest of men, were capable of such a monstrous act, then what hope is there for humanity? But what if I could change it all? What if I could link all minds as one?
You're telling me you're gonna make the whole population become Legion just because your wife was simping for Batman?
I gave her $10,000 on her fans league, and she still wants your dick?
You a bitch! Anyway, Batman chops off just a robot's head, Superman kills the Terminator by sending it to the center of the Earth, Wonder Woman sends Lady Terminator to the sun, and the evil roommate disintegrates into dust. Oh, and Lex wasn't killed at all. And so he and Wonder Woman go into space to find some rare NFTs, and Batman and Superman ordered a pizza. The end. Overall, pretty damn good film, and I'd highly recommend it, my friends. And here we have it, the finale of the Bat Family Saga, Batman, Bad Blood. This film starts off with a bang. Some weird bat terrorist is being a dick and Batman must stop him. And Batwoman gets involved and then Batman is killed. Well, that's one way to get your audience attention. And here on out, we get an interesting story of who will take up the Bat mantle since Bruce died. Will it be Dick, Luke, or Batwoman, or Damian? Who knows? But for a while, Dick decided to take up the Bat mantle to fill his role, and now it's up to the Bat family, well, Bat people, really, to figure out what happened to Bruce. But honestly, this film is just a character study of Batman's sidekick. Dick not liking being in Bruce's shadow, Kathy using Batman, saving her as a motivation to save others as well. Hell, even Damian becomes less of a little shit. Now he's a miniature turd. That's something. Even Luke's a pretty cool character, being a war vet and able to stand his ground. But he's cheating by giving himself some armor, so that's a bit of a downgrade, but it still looks cool as hell. With that said, we find out that Bruce was taken away by this underground terrorist organization called Herod. And who's running this shindig?
I'm you, Damian.
Wait, what?
I want to know you. Love you as he does. I've always served you without question. Please, let me have this.
You're telling me Dio Brando kidnapped Bruce and Damian just so he could have some... Oh well. Dick and Batwoman go and save the two, but have to fight some nuns with guns and swords, and it's pretty absurd, but I love it. Bruce is saved, but not before he was brainwashed by Talia to unleash her true plan, which was basically to brainwash the world's leaders to follow Talia's order, and so the Bat family must stop her evil, and even Alfred gets to kick some ass. This finale is so stupidly epic, I love it, and what a great way to end the Bat Family saga. I'd say it's worth your time, folks. It's pretty fucking cool. The Justice League have always been seen as the pinnacle of heroism, but the new generation is also training to fill their heroes' roles as well. But what happens when the new generation and older generation collide? Well, you get Justice League versus Teen Titans. No guys, this isn't the one from our childhood. It's a new generation of Titans. We have Damian, who was sent there because Bruce said he was still a little shit. Beast Boy, who's not voiced by Greg Sipes, no, but some weirdo, but he does capture Beast Boy's naivete. Blue Beetle, who's the cool Mexican of the group. Raven, who's now the goth girl you hung out with underneath the sewer after school. Like, no, Pan, don't even think about it, you sicko. She's 13. Your 10,000-year-old argument is gonna help you this time around. Also, you're already on the FBI's watch list, and you're still in the jar. Besides that skinny neurotic white kid, their leader is no longer Robin, since he grew up to be Nightwing, but instead they're led by Starfire. God damn it, this is the third time I did that. Fourth if you count the second video. But no joke, Starfire became a MILF here, and I'm kind of surprised she didn't really blow up since the internet loves MILFs now, more than goth girls actually. And as such, she's basically their mom and occasionally airs her and Dick's relationship.
I meant in training, of course. He's very proficient when we have— Corey!
But yeah, the Titans don't really like Damian, and Damian doesn't like him either. So Starfire decides to do what all mothers do and have him socialize. And they do that with a mixtape from a rejected East LA band trying to rekindle the youth. Seriously, this song sucks. I'd play it, but music companies will rip your head off if you even play a millisecond of the song. Remember kids, music companies are the true fascists. And while that's happening, Superman's minding his own business, then some demon possesses him, and he's acting like an asshole, and the League is trying to figure out who's possessing him. And Trigon, who else would it be? Joe? I think it was this guy who possessed him. And while that's going on, some more demons harass society, and Titans have to put an end to them, but not before they do their anime transformation scene. And then they kick the demon's ass and go home. But then the League shows up to warn the Titans of Superman's possession, but they get possessed and spout about Raven's prophecy.
The who to the what?
So Raven submits to save her friends, but her friends say to hell with that and literally go to hell to save her before she summons her asshole dad. And the League breaks Superman out of Trigon's grip, and now the League and Titans must work together to save the world before dinner time. And then they defeat Trigon, and now he lives inside Raven's forehead, and they eat pizza a la classic Teen Titans style. Overall, this film was okay if you ask me. It's not a terrible film per se, but it's not great either. I'd say give it a chance. There's no harm to it. Oh, this film is a very mixed bag. Why? Well, it's based off an amazing comic of the same name, and they kind of hyped it up by bragging about it being the first R-rated DC animated film, and they aired it in theaters, and I went with my sister, and it was honestly the biggest mistake I ever made. Anyway, why is this film so maligned? Well, really it's the first 30 minutes that's disliked, because it's nothing more than Bruce Timm's fanfic come to life. Basically, it's a Batgirl story, and a rather insulting one at that. It starts out like this.
First of all, I realize this is probably not how you thought the story would start.
Well, thanks, Batgirl. Anyway, so we follow Batgirl's journey, and she basically falls for some mafioso's kid, and it's just dumb. What the? Oh, and her and Batman are just arguing and just getting mad.
Don't go near him without me.
Excuse me?
And then all of a sudden, Batman gets super moody.
The Abyss. The place where you don't care anymore. Where all hope dies.
And yes, we gotta talk about the sex scene and how bad it is. God, my sister was all confused and disgusted when it happened.
She's faking it.
This is so out of left field. They get mad, and all of a sudden they have sex. And what truly bothers me is that Bruce doesn't stop it. He's like, okay, the big dick must be pleased. And it's so dumb. And again, this was most likely Bruce Timm's wet dream come to life. I hate this, and this whole short sucks. Basically, Barbara gets all mad because he stole her bathwater without paying.
Selfish, vile, piece of garbage.
Must be that time of the month.
And then quits. Why?
I saw that abyss you spoke about. Very scary.
No, you did not. As pretentious and overly dramatic Batman's speech was, I get it. What the Abyss is basically your darkest moment, your rock bottom, the most vulnerable moment in which you've lost it all, and you're trying to regain everything what you lost. You just had a shitty pseudo-Stockholm Syndrome relationship with Dollar Tree Josuke here. This intro sucked. I hated it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The cartoon avatar has crossed his arm, and I'm pissed.
Oh, how the fuck can this day get any wider?
After that war crime of short, we finally get to the meat and potatoes of this film, the actual killing joke, and this is where things get way better. This tale tells the disturbing lengths Joker will do to break everyone, and it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the comic. It starts off with Batman basically wanting to talk to Joker so that it doesn't escalate to them going at each other's throats, but it turns out it was an imposter, and Joker ran away to steal a circus, and while that, we get glimpses of Joker's past, and it's truly tragic.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I don't mean to take this out on you. You're suffering enough.
And while that's happening, Joker's plotting his biggest gig against Gordon. Why? To prove a point that all it takes is one bad day for someone to snap. Because that's what happened.
You can't see where I'm going. Ah, you useless son of a bitch.
We meet again.
Stay away from me. Don't come any closer, you monster.
Or so he says.
Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
Once again, this film pushed boundaries and wasn't afraid to do so. Joker attempting to drive Gordon mad by paralyzing his daughter, stripping her naked, and just berating him. While that hell is going on, Batman is desperately trying to find Joker and put a stop to his madness. He does, and miraculously, Gordon hasn't snapped. And so Batman and Joker essentially have a philosophical argument towards the end. But Batman still wants to help them so that they don't end up killing each other. But before that, Joker tells Batman one final joke.
Sneed. Feed and see.
As stated previously, this is a mixed bag. The first 30 minutes, well, they're terrible, but the actual Killing Joke was way better just because of its darker themes. In fact, I'm gonna make this film way better. Watch this. Alright, watch this, folks. I'm gonna make the Killing Joke with one simple trick of my finger. Watch. Hold on. That. And then... that. And then... boom. And then... boom, all done. Way better. That 30 minutes sucked. Overall, I'd cautiously recommend this, mainly because the intro really sucked, but it's still a good film. I guess since the last film was so dramatically dark, DC decided to tone it down for their next film. And honestly, I think it was needed, and what we got was a celebration of the Silver Age Batman. That's right, everyone. We have Batman, Return of the Caped Crusader. Oh, how I love this movie, simply because it's a blend of the goofiness of the 60s Batman with a pinch of seriousness to it. The OG cast come back to reprise their roles, Julia as Catwoman, Burt Ward as the Boy Wonder, and the Bright Knight himself, Adam Wee.
Nobody messes with Adam Wee.
This film is just so happy and goofy and embraces it with open arms, and considering the edgelord trash I had to sit through, I fucking love it. The plot is simple and almost feels like an animated adaptation of Batman and Robin was put a stop to there at the time, really tiny rogue alley, which featured the greats such as the Joker without the painted mustache, Catwoman, Riddler, and the Lord King himself, Penguin. The dastardly foes steal a duplicated ray from a group of scientists and tie up Batman and Robin on a TV dinner plate, as Catwoman claws Batman with an experimental liquid that could transform him into an simp, although it backfires as Batman's morally righteous code of honor from the 60s saves the day and his bank account. For now. As our heroes free themselves from cheaply made entrees, they head after the dastardly villains who are hiding in space, with the lad trio deciding to throw out Catwoman into the cold depths of space. Wait a minute, a bunch of brightly colored weirdos in space voting upon on who to eject out of the space station? Wow, this is the biggest ripoff of Cuphead if I've ever seen it. With that aside, Batman and the crew go one-on-one with the Joker squad in a zero-gravity fight that, without a doubt, is a genuine sight to behold with how incredibly animated it is. With the duplicator in hand, Batman decides that the police force sucks, so he clones himself, and then the evil simp serum starts showing up. He takes over the bakery, the justice and legal system, becomes mayor of Gotham, and even fires Alfred? What the fuck? This movie has all twists and turns in it, but our good Christian Bible-reading boy Robin is here to save the day and revert Batman back to his wholesome Christian values. But he needs the help of that sedacious succubus of evil herself, Catwoman. And so they hop on the Pussymobile and go and save Batman. And then we proceed to have one of the best fight scenes between mentor and student.
That knockout gas. That wake-up gas. Bat cuffs.
Bat what, Dick?
Robin cures Batman, but Batman then activates his Uno reverse card, so he traps our heroes in our volcano, and they die, and that's the end of the review. Bye. Yeah, not really. Our heroes are saved thanks to Robin pulling a reverse Uno card.
This is the worst service we've ever had. We're going to
Rebel Taxi.
Alright, please stay with me on this. This is actually really good. And so the good Christian boy and the 60s e-girl go into prison to break out all of Batman's foes and put an end to his reign of evil simpness. And it's an amazing fight scene. Seeing all these villains beat the shit out of Batman's army is so goofy and great. I love it. But then some random dude shows up and offers him some wine in the middle of the fight, and then he returns back normal as his evil simp get Thanos into dust. All this was possible due to Alfred, so really he was the true hero here, folks. But Batman's rogue galley is still on the loose, so he, Robin, and Catwoman must stop him once again. And they do, and Catwoman sacrifices herself because reasons, but it's the 60s and no one ever dies in the 60s. They then pull a Shrek and have a dance montage at the end of it all. This movie is such a massive breath of fresh air after all the movies that were clearly made for kids who enjoyed listening to early 2000 punk bands and skyrocketing Hot Topic stocks into the stratosphere. It's a good, wholesome family fun that anyone, and yes, even boomers who saw the original when they were kids, can enjoy. It's a definite recommendation. Okay, enough of this goofy shit. It's time to get dark and moody again. Because once again, we have a DCAU film right around the corner by the name of Justice League Dark. This film starts off pretty meh. A bunch of people are seeing demon hallucinations, and the League doesn't like it.
We've come up against magic before, Batman. Cersei, Trigon, Felix Faust.
Even Shazam's powers are based in magic. With as much as you've seen, can you rule it out?
Hey, fuck you!
We finally get to see Constantine for the first time in DC. So the chase is on to figure out why this demon outbreak is happening, and it's up to Batman, Zatanna, Boston, and Constantine to solve the mystery. So basically this whole movie is just a Scooby-Doo episode.
Since Monday morning, I've been dreaming about you. Yeah, 7 days.
So our gang goes to visit George Lucas, and he's mad at Constantine because he said the new SpongeBob episodes were actually good, but begrudgingly accepts to help him, and he tells him to visit some guy in the hospital, but then they get attacked by a literal shit monster.
Holy shit!
And leave. They then visit some evil wizard asshole. Who's apparently their lead on the whole demon thing, and it turns out it was all a red herring. Apparently George Lucas really was the bad guy all this time, and with the power of Skeletor he gets betrayed and his film becomes a shitty isekai, and our heroes must now save the anime industry. So the rhyming demon kills Skeletor and the day is saved thanks to the Scooby Gang. Yeah, this film was boring really, and a huge missed opportunity to experiment with the magical elements of the DC world, since we've never seen it explored that much, especially in animated form. I'd say skip it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, remember that Teen Titans movie I reviewed a while back? Not that one. Well, they made a sequel to it called Teen Titans Judas Contract. The film starts out back in the days when Robin was still their leader.
Ooh, I'm gonna sign up for this thing called Tweeter. You put out what you're thinking, like...
The series finale of The Loud House should end with Lincoln Loud dying from cancer, since that's what the fans really want to see.
Or...
I don't really enjoy being famous, but at least 5 people have drawn me having sex with Amy Rose, so it's not so bad.
Or even...
Didn't expect to have an existential crisis while a cosplayer was stepping on me and the person next to me saying that they've been watching by vids since they were 12, but here we are, lol.
Or...
Go touch some grass.
Stop touching grass! Get the fuck back inside the house and continue our internet argument!
They then encounter Starfire, who's running away from her home planet, and kisses Robin, and that's it. I don't know why they made this intro. To fill time, I guess. With that said, we finally get to the plot of the story and we meet Terra, who's way more different from the one from our childhood. Yeah, contrary to what Teen Titans show, Terra is actually a cold-hearted bitch, and this film is actually way more accurate to the comics Terra. She doesn't even like Beast Boy, which I find interesting. Raven is still the moody goth girl, and Pan will forever be on the watch list. Blue Beetle is still cool in my opinion, but that's enough of the characters. What's the plot? Well, the Hive is here, and they're way more darker than the Titans of our childhood. Again, they're full-on Jonestown mode. Their leader even bathing in blood for eternal youth, and all that creepy stuff. Also, Brother Blood is way more preachier here.
At everyone, please do not announce to the server when you are going to go masturbate.
And so the Titans have to stop his dumb cult before he stereotypically takes over the world. But before that, they have a spy in their midst.
Red spies in the base.
And if it wasn't obvious, Terra's the spy. Yeah, she was a double agent for Slade here, who was hired by the Hive to spy on the Titans, so fucking... Oh god!
Bad dream! Bad dream!
Bad touch, bad touch, stranger danger. No, 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 not in my Christian channel. Besides that knock from the FBI, the Titans get captured and Beast Boy gets captured in the dumbest way possible. Fucking idiot. And Nightwing fights Slade because he captured his friends and dies, but really he's been through worse. Now the Titans are captured and Brother Blood will combine their powers to become the ultimate life form. And wait a minute, wasn't this an episode? Also, Slade betrays Terra, so she's pissed off. For whatever reason, she gets unusually smooth animation onto her. Why? I don't know. But the action scenes are cool, I guess. And Terra sacrifices herself to save her friends once again. And overall, this film is once again not a bad film, but it's not extraordinary in any way. So give it a watch if you're bored. After that mediocre trend of films, hopefully the next film will be better.
Oh God, what have I done?
Here we go, folks. The moment I've been least looking forward to. Batman and Harley Quinn.
Oh God, kill me now.
This movie is terrible. Just horrible. Oh God, where to start? I guess the plot, maybe? So basically, Poison Ivy teamed up with not Swamp Thing. I don't know who this guy is, but he's voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
We are out of time. The police will be here soon.
He's a damn good voice actor, but his talents are wasted here. Excuse my language, but what the fuck, my nigga? You're better than this. They teamed up because they're mad because humans are polluting, so basically eco-terrorists. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Timm's etchy side really shines here. But why did it have to be in this trash? Okay, enough of my bitching. Why is this film so maligned? It's not well written and executed poorly. Like, why the hell does Batman need the help of Harley, who off topic is voiced by the Bazinga Girls?
I did something that will either make me look like a lovable goof or a horrible monster damned to spend eternity in hell.
So that's another downgrade. Why? Just because she's Ivy's bed buddy? The art style is really bland as well, so that doesn't really help its case. And the plot is so bare bones as well, so you would think this would be short, but no, it goes on for an hour. It just drags itself for no reason. Just like the infamous Nightwing and Harley sex scene.
Wow, the PG-13 cut of Killing Joke is so fucking pathetic.
Why did we need this? To be more adult? Also, they stopped by this bar, which is a giant reference to the anime series, which I love. And Rob Paulson's here, bless his heart. But they come here because Harley has to get intel from Broccoli Man here, and he won't give it unless he shakes her ass or something like that.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck your ass!
This song sucks so bad it gave Rob lung cancer.
Oh!
Look at the fight! Look at the thing did that on purpose.
Come on, Bruce. I thought incest wasn't wincest, dude.
Shut the fuck up!
Also, she farted.
It's not so bad.
It smells like it smells like discipline.
Comedy fucking gold. And the finale's so stupid. So Batman and Nightwing get this giant toy and they use it on not Swamp Thing, and then he gets pissed and then a cat fight ensues.
Pull my hair, I'll pull your hair, we'll struggle to the pavement at the cat fight. Cat fight.
It's alright to jerk off to cartoons. The Japanese do it every day. So rub one out for the USA. The USA!
What else can I do? I don't know. Vote Democrat.
Are you sure about that?
You're a fraud.
And then the actual Swamp Thing shows up and says some mumbo jumbo like,
Humans may be dumb, but killing is bad, and they said they're sorry.
Steven Universe resolution, motherfucker. And then they burn the Swamp Thing because he's a dick, and that's it. Oh wait, there's an after credit scene, and it's dumb as hell.
Be good to yourselves, because everyone else in the world is probably out to get you. Bye-bye!
What the hell was that?
That's right, folks. The cartoon avatar has crossed his arms once again, and I hate it. The best way to describe this film is Bruce Timm's fanfic come to life. Only watch this film with a group of your friends and roast it, and I highly recommend getting alcohol. It's gonna be even more fun.
When are we gonna get a restaurant where like the baristas are like dudes who look like the people they're serving?
And boy Hooters? Wait, no, you didn't hear that.
No, it's okay. It's recorded on the cameras. It's recorded in the audio, so you're gonna get fucked anyway.
I could get hurt. You heard of the dussy? You ready for the cussy?
Bruce was like,
you know what? Nah, Bruce was like, no, you need to draw it. He probably asked someone else to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he draws women.
Bruce,
why is my pee-pee so big?
Bruce, why are these papers wet and sticky?
Those are mine.
What the fuck was that in between?
That's a breakdown!
What was that in between?
This shit took like the flip horizontal tool on her. Yes! Called it a day. Yeah, she didn't like flip at all. She just like magically just turned to the other side. Like, fuck this.
But other than that, it's just terrible. After that war crime that was Batman and Harley Quinn, DC decided to go back to their roots and do something good to cleanse themselves of that sinful film. And what better way to redeem oneself than showing the world the 60s Batman once again? We have Batman versus Two-Face this time around, folks. Based off a canceled episode of the 60s Batman, they decided to actually sit down and finish the series, and boy was it a glorious way to end it. Once again, Adam West and Burt Ward reprise their roles as a dynamic duo, and they do a fantastic job as always, and Julia as well. Also, we have William Shatner as Two-Face.
Light, growing, dimmer, can't breathe. Beam me up, God.
Once again, it embraces its wackiness but still knows when to take itself seriously. And the plot is pretty complicated but in a good roller coaster way. It starts out as Batman is still simping for Catwoman.
Handy copy of the complete Elizabeth Barrett Browning.
We then visit Hugo Strange, who invented a rude removal for some reason, and they test it out on Harvey, but it backfires and then he becomes Two-Face, and hijinks ensues, and they do it in the best opening sequence I have ever seen. But then they reform Danny and he's back to normal, so that's good. But what about the rest of the hour? Well, you'll see. In the meanwhile, King Tut is being a douchebag and Batman and Robin take him and interrogate him, but not before finding out that he has split personality syndrome, which isn't an actual defense for a crime, no joke. So he's sent to prison and Bruce and Dent have a drink. Okay. But then Batman is called by the police department for a suspicious package that's addressed to him, so he goes and deduces that the criminal is about to steal some rare books in Gotham's library, based upon a broken book. Why? Because it's Adam West Batman. That's why. And so they beat up some thugs, but not before they take off their glasses, because that would be rude.
Couldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you? Huh?
But the books are stolen, and they find out that Two-Face did it, but are then confronted with a dilemma and a question. How the hell is Dent committing crimes? We thought he was reformed. Well, his evil side has actually been hiding this whole time, and Robin tells Batman, and Batman says, no, the Bat-Dick is never robbed. The Bat-Dick trusted. And then Robin gets kidnapped and turns into Two Robin? Evil Robin, that's better. So Evil Robin is unleashed, so Batman's gotta... Once again, ladies and gentlemen, meme review, and a classic one at that. Here we see Batman slapping some sense into Robin, which was so obviously based off this classic meme of Batman slapping Robin, which is the perfect embodiment of when you hear the most dumbest thing or spend 5 minutes on Twitter. Both are the same thing, but nevertheless, this classic meme's aurora just radiates to everyone. And because they made it even more dramatic here, it's better than ever. And as such, I rate this as an extraordinary, beautiful, classic meme. And now back to our regular scheduled program. So Batman gets Robin and cures him, and they're off to the casino.
Batman, look at the size of those balls.
I'm taking my balls and feeding.
They get trapped, and Two-Face decides to unmask Batman once for all, and finds out that Batman was actually Adam West.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
So Two-Face auctions off Batman's identity to the highest bidder, but decides to kill him anyway, but not before Batman foils his trap.
I know karate. Hi-ya!
Oh, I love this. But then Two-Face's master plan commences to turn all of Gotham into half and half milk because he's lactose intolerant, and so Batman Robin must stop his plan, and it's really fucking epic, not gonna lie.
Now's your chance, Harvey. Fight him!
I'm Harley Dent. Oh! District Attorney. Oh! And I'm bringing you to justice.
After that amazing anime battle, Bruce decides to sell Batman, and he's bought out by Catwoman, making him the biggest simp in history, and this film ends with the most goofiest dance number ever, and I wouldn't want it any other way. This film was spectacular because it's a giant love letter to the 60s Batman, and it's a perfect way to end it. Also, this was Adam's final role in anything, and he went out like the star that he was. Folks, I would highly recommend this. It's the most amazing swan song you'll ever see. Rest in peace, Adam West, you glorious lunatic, and thank you for giving us the foundation for Batman for many, many years to come.
It was very effective.
After such a fantastic finale to the Bright Knight's legacy, we go back in time to see what Bruce would be like if America lost to Britain and that old hag. Which means Batman Gotham by Gaslight is next. The art style legit reminds me of the Batman, the 2004 cartoon, not the new one. God, I hate these names, but you get what I mean. But yeah, it's been years since we've seen this style, and honestly, I really love it since it reminds me of old Saturday morning cartoons. So basically, it starts out in a strip club, and Poison Ivy does not have boobs at all, and then she encounters some random dude on the street and kills her.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's one way to get people's attention. So Batman must now solve the mystery on who Jack the Ripper is, and Catwoman tags along, and she's sexy as always. I swear I'm not a simp, I swear. And this film's different from the other films. This plays more like a horror mystery film.
Brings them out into the light.
Environments aren't as bright, and the tone isn't playful, and there's a ton of suspense when Jack shows up. Also, Batman's more gruff here and more analytic since he's trying to solve who Jack is. And Catwoman, well, she's Catwoman and is a burlesque dancer, but is still a good fighter. Also, Jack is fucking fast. 1 second he shows up, and then the next second he vanishes, faster than when Batman does it. And then Batman tells Gordon to do his job, and Gordon's like,
"So you go get that goddamn stuff off of there and fast. I'm working on it."
So the chase is on who Jack is, and Batman is framed for Hugo's murder, and he's about to be caught, but then the cat pussy saves his ass.
Is there a problem, officer?
But Bruce goes to jail anyway, so shit. But Catwoman gets him out, and then somehow Batman figures out Gordon is Jack the Ripper, and Gordon's about to kill Catwoman, but Batman comes in to save the day, and it's pretty fucking epic.
I think it's time for Jack to let her rip.
Overall, this film is really suspenseful, and I really like that twist ending of making Gordon into the bad guy. It's an interesting take, and I love it. Check it out, folks. I guess as a way to hype up the new Suicide Squad movie, DC decided to make Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. And this film, I'm gonna be honest, it's a giant downgrade from Assault on Arkham. Why? Well, let's see. We start as Deadshot's on a suicide mission, and oh god, his voice.
She asked me if her dress made her look fat. She's gotten cranky since she lost weight.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
So he's on a mission to stop Goatfucker here to find proof.
Deadshot! How dare you say DC's better than Marvel? Let's see it. I'm gonna say the N-word.
And he gets killed and his squad as well. The end. And then we meet the actual Suicide Squad. We get Boomerang, the Ice Girl, Harley Quinn, Copperhead, and Robert. And by god, these designs suck ass. Yeah, this art style looks cheap and all.
Hey, we got cheese dogs and chicken nuggets.
Pacing is slow. Like, Jesus Christ, it takes 10 minutes till the plot actually starts, and it's dumb. The squad's gotta find Dr. Fate. The best way for me to describe this film is unnecessarily edgy and overcompensating. This film is just so bloody and tries way too hard to be edgy and dark. It just comes off as those teenage goth kids who sat in the back of the room drawing skulls and people dying and listening to My Chemical Romance. Is there something good about this? Copperhead's cool. His design's way better than Bruce Timm's Lizard Sona costume, so yay. The squad go to a male strip club to find Dr. Fate, and by god does his ass look flat. Nowhere near as fine as my boy here. And then some bullies try to kidnap him, but the squad fight back, and what the? Zoom? He looks awful. What the? And what happened? We'll discuss that later. And so the squad get Fate, and he tells them of this get out of hell free card and how these two e-girls bamboozled him out of the card, and Waller wants the card because she's dying of cancer. Huh, title. And the girls who stole the card are actually Vandal Savage's daughter, and oh, he looks terrible as well. But yeah, they kidnap some pig dude for some reason, and Vandal steals the card, and so the chase is on to get the back credit card, and along the way, the Ice Girl gets kidnapped by Zoom and his goon, and he frees her from Waller's grip.
Don't move.
That's nice of him. And then the squad finds Savage's lair and he tries to scare him off. And then Zoom's goons show up and try to get the card, and they finally explain why Zoom's here.
I tried to vibrate my inner molecules to save my brain even as the bullet was tearing through. Before death, I drew the Speed Force into me with every ounce of willpower I had left. I literally bought time.
Wait a minute.
Mama Luigi!
Shove it up your ugly ass!
Hi, boy.
That's a woman's touch!
You're gay.
You lying bastards! Okay, fuck it, I gotta wrap this up. So Zoom gets the card and Copperhead dies, and then Zoom fights Robert, and it's pretty cool, not gonna lie. And then Zoom dies the official way, and Robert goes to heaven, and it's honestly a pretty happy ending for him. And Waller's a grumpy bitch because she didn't get the card. Dead. This film was just overly awful and edgy for the sake of being adult, to the point of disrespectfulness for the characters. Copperhead was unfairly killed, and the only saving grace is that Tiger got a happy ending after all. Just skip this one, folks. This was awful. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that last film was so bad that the cartoon avatar has crossed his arms for the last time. That's right, it's time for the definitive DC animated movie rant. Complain. As you may have noticed, the animation quality for the majority of these films have fallen dramatically. Some look extremely cheaply made and have a ton of animation issues to them, like Jesus fucking Christ, and the majority of them are so poorly executed. Like I said before, Bruce Timm's style may look bland and generic, but at least it has a soul compared to the DCAU's ugly and corporate art style. And as previously stated in New Frontier, the animation may have sucked ass, but they compensated with great writing. The DCAU just come off as poorly written episodes of the Justice League. A great example of this downgrade is Assault on Arkham and Hell to Pay. Assault on Arkham is just straight up action, it's so fast paced and the characters just bounce off one another, while Hell to Pay is so slow that I nearly fell asleep, even with the blood and guts being thrown all over the place. And that right there is their biggest flaw. They want to be taken as adults and be Marvel's competitor as well, and they think that showing violence in movies and sex on TV will automatically make them adult, when in reality it just makes them seem immature and overcompensating. And they think saying bad words will make you seem cool, and saying that funny big chunkus clips will make you epic. And I'm not saying you should omit any of these elements out of your work, just do them sparingly, and if you want your work to be like that, then fully embrace it, but put effort into it. But sometimes even the DCAU films can be done well. Batman vs. Robin proved it. They actually put effort into the action scenes and even had a plot. And if I've been real negative this review, that's because I want these films to do better, and that's because they can do better. Their previous films proved it. Hell, even this era of DC films had some amazing movies that I love. I just want them to do and be better, because they've proven they can be great, and so good that they actually go down in history. It's just I find it so disheartening that they've fallen so far from grace, but hopefully this next set of films will be better. With all that said, this has been Dino, and have a marvelous day, folks.
Bad monkey.